This is the final episode, the R1 build. It's been epic so far, but by the end of this episode, this bike has to be complete, which means we've got to design the bike. I haven't even started. We're going to choose the style we want, race, road, that type of look. We've got to design all the decals, print the decals and put the decals on after we've painted the bike. We've got some remaining performance parts to go on the bike. There's a lot to do, so stay tuned. It's going to be huge. So we've got a huge task ahead of us, and the first job I want to do is I'm going to jump on Dr. Google and I'm going to look at some of the designs that other people have either built or conceived for their R1s. Now, this is not a professionally designed bike. I've done that before. I've done that with my V4 Panigale and other bikes where I've used the likes of Car Design and paid them to actually design the bike, and the results speak for themselves. Those bikes looked absolutely amazing. Can I emulate the same type of quality as an amateur in a garage at home? So there's two key design principles that I'm gonna adhere to hopefully in this build. One is the colors, not too many. Basically 2 colors and a neutral. So I've got the blue, I've got the gray, and then my neutral is the white. So I think that's cool. The yellow, I'm gonna say they're accents. I'm not gonna include that. So I think I've adhered to that already, and you're gonna see that blue when I break that out in the spray gun. And the next rule for me is lines. So like I said, I don't want to do a straight racing line like other people have, but I do want to adhere to a couple of principles. I want forward facing lines and downward facing lines. I don't want upward facing lines or backward facing lines. And luckily for this bike, I've actually got some predetermined lines already on the fairing. As you can see, I've actually got lines coming through already, which sort of almost fit with the downwards hunkered forward facing racing look that I'm after. So next up, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab my 5mm tape and I'm gonna start playing with some different variations on design. Where this tape runs is where the difference between the base white color and the actual feature color, either blue or gray, is going to be. I also know that I have my brand. I've got 1L Moto Design, so that needs to be on there somewhere, along with the, I guess, the theme of this bike that I've chosen, which I'm calling the R1X. Then I've designed some of those elements in Canva, and now I can print them onto vinyl. Okay, so bear with me. I think I'm onto something here. It's got the cross things across the front here. I thought we'd go with something cool like that instead of a basic number plate on the front. I reckon that's gonna stand out pretty cool. You'll see that this section in here is gonna be the blue. All of this will be white, and then where I've got this blue up the top here, just this thin line, that's gonna be like a pinstripe, probably quite a thick pinstripe of the gray that we've got. That same theme will follow along here. So I've now got the best of both lines. I know this sounds simple, but sometimes simple is subtle, subtle is good. We've got the gray pinstripe across the top. Got to remember, picture everything else pearl white. Gray pinstripe across the top, all the way back up here. We've got the massive, big, thick blue stripe coming the whole way forward through here, and then following the lines of the fairing coming down and back. Right back there, I'm not sure if I'm gonna put like a number plate board, like a dark gray number plate board or not. Okay, so I've mocked it up again. I've relayed all of my lines just to make sure they are absolutely perfect. And then I've done up some decals. So I've got Prima Pramac across the top here. Yes, I know. It's a bit of an ode to the new Yamaha theme. R1X. I don't know how this is gonna turn out with the X behind the 1, but I think that'll look cool on top of the blue and the gray. I'm not sure, I might move all these this way, and then the 998. So R1 998. I'm just gonna put my logo back here. So just a 1L Moto Design up the top here, and that's it. So, onto paint. However, check that out. That is a storm, and I don't know if I'm gonna beat this storm and not get wet. So it took me about 2 hours to mask all the fairings up, and you've got to make it perfect. Any gaps and you'll get paint residue under them. Then it's time to fill up the paint, 2:1 ratio, and attach it to the gun, super easy. But from here, it pretty much just goes downhill. Well, not good news. We've just had probably the worst failure I think I've had in building bikes. I've just spent God knows how many hours prepping these fairings, trying to get them perfect, and then my paint, it appears, is maybe too old. And I tried to push through, I tried thinning it out a bit more, no luck. It's just got spurts everywhere. I'm gonna have to stop, regroup, start again, go buy more paint, more thinners, just more gear, and probably wet sand these back and then start painting again, which means I've got to wait for another day, and the next 7 days is storming all day, every day. So this could be a while. Well, that was a massive shame. Everything's back here in the garage now, all drying out right here because I need to wait for it to dry. I'll put the camera down for a sec. Because I've got to sand it back again. Look at this, it's actually just completely destroyed. It just started throwing massive amounts of gunky, crappy paint at all of my fairings, and I don't know what the problem was. I think maybe the paint was expired, maybe it was too old. Either way, can't get that paint anymore. There was a custom color, that's all I had. So, conundrum. Here's a couple of options. First one is a Hyundai, however you want to say it, blue. I like that. I think that's pretty cool. I would keep the same design if I was going to use that. My only concern, maybe it's too light, too much white on the bike, maybe. Now that I've got a chance to rethink it, what about this? This is a Camaro blue, a new color. It's a metallic blue, it's darker, it looks sick. Imagine that with the white accents instead, with the decal scheme that I've done. Now there's an option. I think that would stand out in a crowd and that would look awesome. So off to the paint shop in the morning, gonna spend the next couple of hours fixing up these fairings, probably put a coat of primer filler over them again, sand them back again with wet 2000. This is building bikes, guys. This is how much work it takes. Sometimes you screw it up, sometimes you gotta start from scratch. Another day, I will say another $1, but it's not really. We've been to the paint shop this morning and we've picked up our new paint. Oh, I hope you didn't see that. Name, because I want this to be a surprise. So, new paint. We're also going to change the way we're painting this bike. Let me show you. Okay, I've gone ahead and reversed my initial thoughts. I am now doing white accents. They're all painted. I just wanted to get them done, get them out of the way. And they're looking pretty good. I'm still prepping the nose cone because this just really got completely destroyed by that blue, crappy old paint. I've had to re-primer fill that 3 times and I'm just waiting for that to harden so I can sand it back. But in the meantime, we're gonna put a new chain on this baby. So we've just been to Moto Garage, picked up another chain. This is an RK Racing chain, 525. Let's get it on. So I find chains get easier over time and definitely helps to have the right tools. So a Dremel with a cut disc on it and a really good chain breaking tool makes life so much easier. Next up, I'm off to Moto Mia for an awesome Brembo Corsa Quarter brake lever, and anything you need from CNC Racing, these are your suppliers. Hit them up on Instagram. Then it's back to the garage, quick install, job done. check this out. I'm literally painting between storms. That is a pretty big contrast. Couple of rough edges there. So probably not my best ever paint job because I've had so many things go wrong. It's gonna need a bit of touch-up work. It's gonna need probably wet sand, polish, a bunch of after paint care just to make this better, but not bad for painting in a blow-up spray booth between storms. It's actually, I think 3 days later, I've been prepping and re-prepping fairings over and over. It's becoming one of those monotonous, repetitive tasks, but I wanted to take this moment out. Before we get into clear coating this bike, this is our dyno sheet. I'll put it up on screen now. 196.3 brake horsepower. Not using my regular dyno tuner, so I'm not sure how accurate it is. We'll probably do a dyno run at some point anyway, just to do a power test on it. But now it's time for clear coat, and then we've got some brake upgrades, and then I'm pretty much gonna stop filming here because if I film too much more, you're gonna see the finished bike sort of evolve, and I just want to go bang, here it is. So without further ado, bang, here it is. So there we have it, guys. MY23R1 X is what we're calling it. And the build's done. So massive thank you to all of you guys who have subscribed. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe now. Thanks to all the supporters, thanks to all the people that have tuned in throughout this build. It's been pretty epic, and I couldn't be more pleased with this build. It looks awesome. Massive thanks to our sponsors, Moto Garage. You guys have done a fantastic job on this build. Next up, I think we need to build a road bike. I'm pretty sure you'll agree.